Hello, everybody. This is Matthew Brandon. I'm going to make a video later about the right wing, but today I want to talk about why the left wing watch people. So first, thank you from the bottom of my heart for tuning in. And if you disagree with anything I say, please feel free to comment. But I'm gonna get into it. So the left wing, a lot of people have been just like, "Oh, this is too stupid. I'm going over to the right." Way more lately than it has been the other way around. And a lot of people are wondering, like, oh, I can't understand. Like, oh, you must be bigoted. Oh, you must be positive. And I'm not one of those people fully. I have come up to, be a lot more open minded on some issues, but it's because things have come to pass that weren't an issue before. So, for example, Obamacare didn't really help out a lot of the people who were working but still broke, for example. So let's say if you had a job, you work full time, you made not a decent wage, but just made like a wage where you were getting by, kind of. I don't even mean like the living wage that they call it, like that $15. I don't mean the $15 an hour. I mean less than that. If you are making, somewhere in the lower, very low double digits, like 11, 10, 12, Obamacare might have really screwed up your day, because what happened was a lot of people were living paycheck to paycheck. We don't really have an economy in a lot of places where one person can substantially support themselves. And some people who they live with their parents, or they're in college or something, they probably don't understand that yet, because you have to like get out of college. You have to really live on your own for 1, 2, 3 years before you really understand. Like, it is very hard to stay by yourself in the economy unless you've got this huge foundation that someone set up for you. So once you are ready to walk out the door on your own, you're all okay. But for a lot of people who had to move out early, or went straight into college and went got a job, moved right into their own place, whatever. To those people, it's very hard to stay on your own. So they might have been living paycheck to paycheck, especially if they live in an area where everything's a little more expensive. I'm here in Michigan. When I first moved out on my own years ago, things were a lot cheaper. Now it's a lot more expensive, because of inflation and stuff like that. Because all that really, the raising the minimum wage, all that really did most of the time was just make everything more expensive. When I first got my first apartment, it was $375 a month. If I went to go get that same apartment again, that same apartment would cost about $500-600, and that's the cheapest apartment in the Metro Detroit area. I'm not going to say it right now. I might in a different video, but everybody knows that apartment. It is the cheapest apartment, period. And now that one's almost $600. That's almost, I mean, it's not quite double what I was paying, but at the same time, a lot of people don't make double what I was making when I first got out of college. So that being said, it's so a lot of people have to work multiple jobs. They're very tired, or they have to have like live with somebody, and sometimes that means that they're relying or depending on somebody that they shouldn't be around in the first place. Makes people make a lot of bad decisions. So that was one thing. That was like what Obamacare did. It wasn't that everything he did was bad. I'm just saying that particular law negatively affected a lot of people that I know. As a matter of fact, I don't know anybody, period, that it benefited. I do not know. I know a lot of broke people. I know a lot of people who, are barely getting by, that don't make a lot of money, and I don't know one of them that want to see that law come back. They're probably still, a lot of them are Democratic, but they just don't want to see that law come back. Number two, gay marriage got passed. So, abortion is legal. So a lot of the stuff that Democrats wanted to pass got passed. There isn't really how do I put it? There isn't a law that they're really trying to push. And the only laws they can push now is to take away rights. And that's kind of an issue where a lot of people are like, whoa, 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 whoa. I was with you when you were granting rights. I'm not with you when you're removing rights away. So that's the second major thing. For example, freedom of speech, they're trying to say, okay, well, some areas want a hate speech law. Do a lot of people get convicted of that or like get fined or something like that? Not too much, but it is like nobody wants to have that looming over their head, especially in America where a lot of money comes from media and influence and like advertising, marketing, so forth. Like you open yourself up to so much attacks just by social. You really don't want a whole nother attack by the law from that. Plus, a lot of people don't realize laws. If you haven't been arrested, and I mean, for if you have not been arrested, you might not realize that a lot of arrests can remove other rights from you anyway. And it could be a petty arrest, it could be a dumb arrest, it could be like, a young people just being young people. Like you trying weed for the first time at a party, and that was just the wrong day to try it. And then what do you know? The neighbors called the cops on you. Somebody knocked on the door. Oh, you're all being charged. Now it doesn't seem like much, but it's not like you just pay a fine and get on with your day. No, you're going to jail. You have to pay bail. Now you have to go on probation. And that's if you get off lucky. They could just stick your ass in jail and keep you there until whatever your court date comes up, especially if you don't have the money to pay bail. So people don't realize that. So, no, people don't want any more rights taken away. So the hate speech, they're trying to get rid of guns. They're trying to get, make guns very hard for people to acquire. These people who are young, they're usually very young and not, living on their own yet. So they get swept under the rug with this finger pointing. And there's the third part. So first you had the left. They passed some laws that they didn't help anybody. They made people's days more miserable. But on the other hand, I believe every president's magnum opus made everybody's lives more miserable sometimes. Two, you had them wanting to they ran out of rights to pass, so now they're trying to take rights away. That's the new laws they're trying to pass, take rights away. That doesn't do anybody any good. And then you have number three. So number three would be they do a lot of finger pointing. The SJW, the social justice finger pointing, all that kind of stuff. This has become huge. Now, I'm not saying that the right doesn't do it too, but the left is way more guilty because it's not just the finger pointing. When you finger point, you don't really come up with solutions. Like if I say, if I'm in the kitchen and a pot boiled over and it's still boiling over, the stove's still burning, and someone comes in and is like, what the hell's going on? Turn the stove off. And I'm like, no, he did it. He did it over there. And I keep pointing to the other guy. It's like, okay, we can deal with that later, but first turn the damn stove off so the pot stops boiling over. And that's kind of the issue we have in America at the moment. This pot, we have a melting pot, it's boiling over, with all kinds of issues, whether it be cultural issues, crime issues, health issues, poverty issues, depression, drugs. They're all boiling over, and no one's trying to just stop that. They're just trying to find out whose fault it is. And when they pass these laws, the laws they pass are for like, okay, well, the stove's boiling over, so, no more pots or no more stoves. That doesn't help anybody because now when people want to cook, right? Let's say a kitchen burns out. Okay, well, it's one thing if everybody has to have a fire extinguisher. That's understandable. But when you put like so many regulations in, and anybody can read it or be bribed or whatever to interpret it however they want to, now you have an issue because now no one can open a restaurant. And now you get more issues because all these people who would open restaurants or would go into the economy and make jobs and create money, they can't do anything because of all these silly laws that came from the finger pointing, the taking away rights, and just passing stuff that nobody, it wasn't really what was asked for. I'm not saying that we don't have issues in America that Democrats like point out. Sometimes they do. When I was watching that thing on the what was it? I can't remember her name right now, but the woman on Border Control, the secretary. I heard two issues brought up that were valid by the Democrats. One was they were severely understaffed, and nobody was really, she didn't bother to point that out, and so that was clear, that was worth addressing. Yeah, worth address that. You get what I mean. So it's worth addressing, and that was the one. Number two, the people, when they're trying to build this wall, who have houses along where they want to build the wall, there's been not a lot of sympathy or you know, perks or stuff given to those people. Some people are probably, I mean, I can't imagine that whole wall is going to be built with some people's houses around there not being get screwed by that deal. I feel like they could find out something better, a better way to suit them. Is it within the rights of the government? Yes. Does that kind of suck for them? Very much so. And I feel like that wasn't as dressed. Everything else was just, it's finger pointing. And even the woman who brought up like the houses that were along that line, she was like, well, should we declare national emergency on these mass shootings? What the hell are you talking about? What you want us to bring in the army and have a civil war and confiscate everybody's guns? That doesn't make any sense. What about people who live in horrible areas? What are you going to do? Go in every single house in America, right? The millions and millions of houses. Go and inspect every single house in America like you're World War II Hitler looking for Jews. Why would you do that? Why would you go into people's house like a Nazi looking for Jewish people? Because that's what you would do if you declared a national emergency. The only other faction you could do is you can get rid of the Second Amendment and demand everybody turn in their guns. And then every bad person with a gun is going to shoot every person without a gun. They're going to rule the area because. And then three, you already have an issue with police. I'm not going to say that police are bad guys or out to get people, but that is the problem with kind of like government law enforcement. They push the boundaries of what they can do because they have a lot more rights than regular people. Not saying than criminals, but just regular people can get screwed by the system. I'm not saying police go and shoot a bunch of civilians, but a lot of civilians do get screwed by the way the law is, and the police are the ones who enforce that. So if police want to frame somebody or beat somebody or just like violate the laws by just breaking in their house whenever they want to, and coming up with a warrant later, they can easily do that. And there's a certain threat of having arms that or people being armed that keeps police and the military and all that stuff at bay to an extent. You get what I'm saying? Like, they know that the populace is armed. The police in America cannot go without arms. It can't be like England where they all have billy clubs. And you definitely don't want it to be like Japan or China where people just really don't have rights altogether. Like, that's not, no one wants that. That's why people just keep committing suicide like that. So you don't want that. And I believe that when Democrats do that, they're just doing finger pointing. This isn't like, oh, that we're looking for solutions. This is just solid finger pointing. So let me know what you think. My next video, I'm probably going to try to post it right after this, is going to be about why the right lost people in the first place by the droves. And it's really mostly just over religion, but check that out next. Thank you.